And India's space agency ISRO is on the cusp of another landmark. Aditya L1, the big project. Today is a big day for Aditya L1, and we're counting down to 4 p.m. when it will be placed in orbit, in a key orbit. Let's get you some of the details of what we can expect at 4 p.m. this evening. ISRO on the cusp of entering a halo orbit. It's a halo orbit around the Sun-Earth Lagrange point 1 or L1, and that's expected a little after 4 p.m. This strategic maneuver will position the spacecraft in a stable vantage point approximately about 1.5 million kilometers from Earth, allowing it to maintain an uninterrupted view of the Sun. Now, Aditya L1's journey began with its launch aboard the PSLV C-57 on the 2nd of September 2nd, 2023, and after a series of complex orbital maneuvers and a 110-day transit, the spacecraft is now poised to conduct its final insertion into the halo orbit. And we have former director of ISRO, Surendra Pal Singh, joining us live this evening. Good evening, Mr. Singh. Can you hear me, sir?
Good evening. Hello.
I'm checking the audio again. Mr. Surendra Pal Singh, former ISRO director with us. Good evening, sir. Good evening. Mr. Singh, if you can tell our viewers first up the significance of this maneuver and how this is going to help in the mission, sir.
Yeah, good evening. You know, this L1 is an orbit of, it's an orbit. It's not a single point. Okay. It's a hypothetical single point L1.
Yeah.
We called Lagrangian one. We have got like 5 points and it goes around that. The orbit period is of the order of 187 days. It means in a few thousands of kilometers orbit. It's a slightly twisted orbit. To get into this orbit, you know, one has to, a particular time of maneuver, one has to put a loop, you know, suppose we are going in an axial direction, we have to come back, make a loop and enter into this orbit. So that's a very crucial maneuver. See, suppose if it was a sun, lunar orbit, we knew how exactly to do it. But into a hypothetical orbit, which is also not a planar orbit, it's not the, suppose the line joining the sun and the satellite, you know, it's not a perpendicular to that one. It's slightly twisted, like, you know, if you take a loop, slightly twisted, it's a three-dimensional thing. It's not a two-dimensional orbit. So get into this orbit is a tricky point, and to maintain the minimal, because the centripetal force is managed or compensated, and the force compensated, residual one is compensated by or corrected by the thrusters which are there on the satellite. And this we see the uninterrupted view of the sun at L1. See, the Earth does not come in between. There is no occultation. This is the most advantageous point, although it's not very stable. Stable points are L3, L4, L5. But there are some other problems with that one, so one doesn't go to those points. One goes to L1 point or L2, where James telescope is there, but that is needed for looking into the deep space. Here we are looking directly for 24/7, only on sun with 7 experiments on it. Thank you.
Now, how critical is this mission for ISRO, Mr. Singh, and how will this mission help us study the sun further?
See, it's a critical for the science, solar science. We don't understand the solar science very well, although we had been doing observations. You know, first astronomy was solar astronomy, but it's done from the ground. Now we are going to the point where there is no atmosphere. At the same time, continuously we are looking at sun 24/7. And in that one, we have got 7 experiments which will find out the soft X-rays, we'll find out the corneal heating. There's a lot of anisotropies there, both temperature-wise as well as the mass and magnetic field-wise. So there is a magnetometer in your photograph. You are showing a big boom. There is a magnetometer, triaxial magnetometer is there. We'll find out the magnetic field. Then also we'll study the corona. You see, what happens is this total solar disk will be, occulted by another disk on the camera itself, and we will be able to study the total sun in that way, which was not possible to do on ground. Similarly, there is coronal mass ejection, which affects our electromagnetic environment, and also it affects our weather conditions. It affects so many things, our satellites. It can affect our communications, etc. So if we know all those things well in advance, we can take the mitigation measures. So there are 7 experiments I told you, and corneal heating is not very well studied. There are some 3 more satellites are there, like SOHO is there, Parker probe is there, and earlier also there. So they are also studying, and we will be complementing their observations. So worldwide, we are contributing considerably once we are successful in the solar, physics, and we will also understand the solar dynamics with respect to our Earth's atmosphere, Earth's magnetosphere. So all these things makes a very complex phenomena. And I told you, there is a lot of anisotropies involved, which we don't understand it. And by this satellite, we will be able to understand the anisotropy of the corona mass, anisotropy of the field, anisotropy of the temperatures. Because the temperatures vary, from 4,000 Kelvin to 1 million Kelvin. That sort of temperature variations are there where you are looking for. So it's a very complex, plus X-rays are coming, soft, hard X-rays are coming, magnetic field variations are there. So 7 experiments will try to find out all the things.